Hey yo, thanks for tuning in to The Source, your source for celebrity news. Alright, so as you know, Diddy's former assistant Mia, who's going under a pseudonym, took the stand. On day one, Mia testified that Diddy's an abusive boss who overworked her, underpaid her, and essayed her 4 times. Mia also testified that on several occasions she witnessed firsthand the abuse that Diddy did to Cassie. And now, after working for Diddy and experiencing so much trauma while she worked for him, she has PTSD. Alright, so we're going to discuss what Mia said when she got up on the stand on days 1 and 2. But first, let's see what Snoop Dogg has to say about the Diddy trial.
You've been able to see it all. Are you surprised at what is happening with Diddy right now?
Very surprised. I'm ultimately surprised. Like, I don't be expecting none of this type of things to be happening. You know, like I say, when I was given my position of power and given my position of, leadership, I like to take advantage of it and treat people good and make sure that people that work with me don't feel like they work for me. And when they're ready to leave, and if we have a misunderstanding, if there is a separation, it's ended on love. It's never bad vibes or anything of that nature. So I try to be a better boss based off of the bosses that I was around when I was just an employee or just an artist. So I try to take the good things that they did and subtract the bad things that they did. Some of the things I didn't know what they did because I was only entitled to certain information as an artist or a friend. So yeah, as a businessman, I've learned to just be good to people because I know what it feels like to have bad business done on you and to have bad contracts. So I try to give my people that I do business with a great experience, so that way at the end of the day, we feeling good about each other and we don't have to end up facing each other talking about how bad we treated each other.
Alright, so after Snoop said that, a whole lot of people had something to say. And one person said, so Snoop acting like he didn't know all this was going on? And then somebody else was like, he knew. And then somebody else came through and was like, come on Snoop, you hung out enough to see how he was talking to people and what he was doing. And then last but not least, somebody else said, didn't he say that his kids were best friends with Diddy's and that they practically grew up together? I mean, we'd have to suspend reality to believe that he didn't at the very least know something of what was happening. Let me tell you something. When hip-hop first started, there used to be honor in keeping it real. But now, keeping it real is out the window because all of these dudes done sold out for the bag. Listen, let me know down below. What do you think about Snoop Dogg saying that he's totally surprised about what's happening with Diddy? Yo, hit that like button and let's get into it. Alright, so on Mia's second day on the stand, the AUSA started out by asking her, did you call the other employees over there at Bad Boy your family? And she said, yes, I was surrounded by them, and everyone referred to each other that way. And then the AUSA was like, did you date an employee at Bad Boy? And she said, yeah, Matt. He was a sound engineer and we lived together. However, Diddy had me working so much that I never saw him. So then the AUSA went on to talk about the time that Cassie went to South Africa. And she said, did you go to South Africa? Why did you go to South Africa? And Mia explained that Diddy wanted her to go to South Africa to accompany Cassie while she was shooting a movie. However, she says that once she got there, Diddy kept blowing up her phone and he was like, yo, why are you in South Africa? I need you to come back right now. Now, mind you, Mia had to pay for the trip out of her own pocket, so she was like, listen, I can't afford to be coming back there right now. However, Diddy wasn't even trying to hear it. So Mia says that she stopped taking his calls, and that made him mad because he was in Miami. And he was doubly mad because that just so happened to be the same trip to South Africa where Cassie caught Diddy cheating with Gina, and she stopped taking his phone calls too. So then, he had his chief of staff, Christina Coram, text her to let her know that Diddy wanted to talk to her. And when Diddy did finally talk to her, Mia says that Diddy threatened to murk her. But the threat wasn't enough because Christina Coram kept calling her saying Diddy wants to talk to you. And she's like, listen, I'm terrified. However, Christina Coram told her that Diddy said that if she didn't call him back right away, she wasn't going to have a job. Let me tell you something. I could not work in such conditions. I mean, one day you're telling me you're gonna murk me, the next day you're telling me I don't have a job. I mean, for real, I would have had to do something to make this dude fire me. And then after he fired me, I would have took my little black behind down to the unemployment office and I would have told him and his staff to lose my number. Cause there's no way in the world that I'm gonna sit there and let you stress me out every day for no 55K. Anyway, Mia says that Diddy blew up her phone like 48 times and she didn't respond. But she liked her job and she knew that it was going to be an issue. So when KK texted her, she told KK that she had fell asleep. So at this point, the prosecution pulls up a whole bunch of text messages between Mia and Diddy. And in the messages, Diddy's like, I'ma tell everything. So the prosecution asked Mia, what does this mean? And she said that Diddy was basically threatening to tell Cassie about the essay. Okay, so basically, I know darn well that Diddy wasn't getting ready to call Cassie and say, yeah, I essayed your girl. So what Diddy was planning to do was call Cassie and put the spin on it and make it seem like Mia was over there trying to give him the buns. Now, in the same text exchange, Diddy was like F ABC. And when they asked Mia what that meant, she said that she had been writing a show based on her life as an assistant. And basically, the press had picked it up and ABC was thinking about making it a show. So Diddy was trying to say that he was getting ready to use all his power and his pull to get her opportunity taken away. In some of the WhatsApp messages, Diddy was like, call me now. But in other messages, he was like, don't ever call me again. So once again, Mia's response to Diddy calling her 48 times was, I was asleep. Now remember, even though Diddy made her go to South Africa with Cassie, he didn't pay for it. She had to pay for it herself. So now that Puff was demanding that she come back from South Africa early, she needed some funds. So the prosecution shows the jury an email that she sent to Puff and then to Christina Coram. And it said, I'm sorry for asking you for the money. I'm sorry. I want to make sure you're good. At the end of the day, regardless, I love you. And then the prosecutor asked her, why did you send this? And Mia said, he told me to return, then he told me to stay. I couldn't afford the change fees. I told him, Cassie says she really needs me right now, but of course, I'll do whatever. So then the prosecution asked her, why did you write that? And she said, because I work for him. To him, that's all that mattered. Next, the prosecutor asked her, why did you CC Christina Coram? And she said, because I needed an answer, I was in limbo. After that, the prosecutor asked, when you got back from South Africa, where did you work? And she said, the office in LA. Mia went on to say that after the South Africa trip, she had much less access to Diddy, which made her job impossible because she needed his okay on everything, but she couldn't get it, so she felt defeated. She also said that after she came back from South Africa, Diddy suspended her without pay. She said that one day she was in the office and she was doing a job and Diddy came in and she didn't have all his options laid out the way that he wanted them. So he was like, where are my options? And then he was like, you're fired. Now, with regard to that termination, the prosecution went on to show the jury a text message between Mia and James Cruz, who was a manager who worked for Diddy at the time. And she wrote, Puff is currently firing me right now. And then James Cruz responded, LOL. Next, the prosecution showed the jury an email between D-Rock and Mia on March 25th, 2011. And in the email, D-Rock asks, what happened? And Mia responds, he went bat-ish crazy about his shirt. So with regard to the situation, the prosecutor asks her, where was Puff? And she says, with D-Rock going to the doctor and some other errands. I asked D-Rock to give me a heads up before they came back, so I could be out of the way. Now, after Mia answered that question, the prosecution asked her, what did HR tell you? And she said that Puff wanted me suspended without pay, and I was. Alright, so essentially, Puff suspended this chick without pay because she didn't lay out enough shirt options for him to wear. Oh my goodness. See, this is what happens when people become billionaires and they forget what it means to have to work day to day for a paycheck. Because I'm sure that her losing out on a paycheck affected her life for real. But he doesn't respect things like that. Because first you want to underpay her and overwork her, and now you want to dock her pay every chance you can get for nothing. Alright, so anyway, at this point, the prosecutor pulls out the paperwork and shows it to Mia, and she says, what's this? And Mia says, this is a memo where the HR department told me that I was being suspended without pay for being insubordinate. So then the prosecution asked her, how did that make you feel? And Mia says, so sad that I did something wrong. Did you continue working for Mr. Combs? Yes. Did you feel that you could leave your job? That wasn't a thought. I had tried to run away before and it didn't work. Did you feel that you could get other jobs? Oh no, he would have made sure I couldn't. See, that's how Puff has all of these people stuck between a rock and a hard place. Because it's not like you're working for Walmart and then you quit, you can go work for Target. If you work for Puff and he blackballs you, you're blackballed from the business and you're not going to be able to get another job anywhere. And he's so vindictive that he would probably stoop so low as to pull some strings to stop you from even getting a job at Starbucks. At this point in the trial, Mia went on to recount the time that she tried to escape from Puff. She said that her, Kim Porter, and the kids and some other people were staying on a yacht that Puff chartered in St. Bart's. And he asked her to count some money, but she was counting too slow. So he flew into a rage and started yelling at her. Mia said that Puff started chasing her around the island, and he was like, "You better learn to walk on water like Jesus, Yacht. Get the cuff out of here." Mia said that she tried to get off the boat and she tried to make it to land, but she couldn't because it was hurricane season. So she went and cowered on the 3rd floor. She said that while she was on the 3rd floor, Kim Porter saw her and tried to console her. And Kim told her not to worry because she said that she too had seen Puff and she hid in the crew cabin. After that, Mia went on to say that she tried to leave the island, but the crew told her that Puff had her passport. Let me tell you something. I truly believe Mia's story, but here's the funniest thing about it. As they're telling these stories, her stories, Deontay's stories, and Cassie's stories, you would think that Puff was Jason Voorhees, because this ninja right here is everywhere. I mean, he was chasing her down a fire escape. He was chasing her in St. Bart's. He was chasing her at Princess Party. I mean, this dude is walking mad slow, but running at the same time. I mean, for real. Y'all remember how those horror movies used to be? Jason and Michael Myers used to be walking 2 miles per hour, and people used to be running full speed. But Jason used to catch him every time. And now, every time I think of Diddy, I'm hearing 1, 2, Diddy's coming for you. 3, 4, you better lock your door. 5, 6, grab a crucifix. 7, 8, you better stay up late. I mean, for real, that's the vibe that I'm getting from the diddler. Anyhow, Mia said that she had to get back on a boat, and when she got there, she was told to get into a car with Puff so that they could get on a plane to go to Vegas. And when she got into the car, she could hear Puff on the phone telling the chief of staff that they needed to suspend her again, but they needed to make up a good story to make it legit. Ultimately, Mia said that she ended up leaving Bad Boy in 2017 after she was working on a project for 2 years, and then one day Diddy walked in out of nowhere and pulled the plug on a project that she was doing for Revolt Films. Mia said that after she left Bad Boy, she would just go home and cry herself to sleep at night. And she said that she wouldn't take anybody's phone calls, not even Cassie's, because she didn't know who she could trust. Eventually, she hired an attorney to help her get her unpaid monies that the company owed her. And although the attorney demanded $10 million, Puff eventually paid out $200K for unpaid wages in a severance package. Now, fast forward to November 2023. Mia says that after CNN aired the video of Diddy stomping Cassie out at the Intercontinental Hotel, D-Rock called her out of nowhere and asked her if she saw the news. She said that she was happy to hear from D-Rock because that was the big homie, but she felt like he had a motive. During the call, D-Rock kept saying, yeah, you saw what happened with Diddy and Cassie? The news is crazy, but you know, it wasn't like that. It was normal fighting. But he was really trying to see if she planned on spilling the tea on Diddy. During that call, D-Rock also told her that Diddy missed her and he offered her a monetary gift. According to Mia, D-Rock was on the phone and he was like, "How can I send you something? I'm allowed to send my little sister a gift." But she says that she turned it down. Now, shortly after D-Rock called her, her phone started ringing again, and it was Diddy. According to Mia, as soon as she saw his name on that caller ID, it triggered her. So she threw her phone behind the couch and just ran out the room. Shortly after that, D-Rock texted her again and was like, "Your boy doesn't want to do anything. He just wants to talk." But she said that she didn't want to talk to Diddy. She just wanted the whole thing to go away. So then, the prosecutor asked Mia, "What did you think D-Rock was trying to do?" And Mia said, "Find out for Puff if I was a threat." After that, Mia said that Diddy made several attempts to contact her via text. For example, in February of 2024, he wrote her and he was like, "Call me when you have 10 minutes. Love." And then on February 7th, 2024, he wrote, "I need my memory jogged." Oh my goodness, Puff is like that dude that you used to date that you broke up with who keeps texting you random stuff every now and then because he thinks that he can still get some buns. Anyhow, it's mad obvious that D-Rock was over there trying to play Mr. Fixer for Diddy, and Diddy asked him to call her and probably everybody else to find out if they were going to snitch. Alright, so at that point, the prosecutor was like, "Your Honor, no further questions." And everybody in the courtroom was like, "Oh my goodness, she just did Diddy in. It's over. It's a wrap." But, like I said, Diddy is Jason, so even though they thought they unalived him, Diddy got back up. Because upon cross-examination, a lot of people are saying that Diddy's attorney Brian Steele stood up and just pulverized this chick. and his approach was simple yet effective. Brian said, "Ma'am, let me ask you something. If Diddy was such a monster, then why in the world are you making 50 million posts on your own Instagram where you're praising him and saying how much you love him? As a matter of fact, according to you, he SA'd you on November 4th, his 40th birthday. So why in the world are you hugged up with him in this picture saying that he's the best thing since sliced bread?" And Mia was like, everybody knows that the internet's not real, and how you portray things on the gram is just for show. Nobody really posts negative things on the internet. So then, Brian Steele proceeded to scroll through like 20 more of her Instagram posts where she was like, "Oh my goodness, Puff, I love you, Puff. You the best, Puff. You taught me so much, Puff." I mean, it was bad, really, really bad. And some people who were in the courtroom even said that at that moment, some of the people on the jury started looking at her with the side eye. Alright, so Brian Steele was like, "Here you say he got coffee for you in Forbes list though."
Yes.
"You say that he made you take substances against your will at Burning Man, but then you post about it?"
Right.
"You posted a picture with him, a man that was terrorizing you?"
Yes.
"And what about this video where Mr. Combs is posing as a doctor delivering your baby?"
It was a funny video. I was proud to be in it.
Mr. Combs' birthday is significant to you too. You did 2 shots with him, right?
Yes.
Alcohol overcame you.
Yes.
You believe you were drugged, right?
I didn't say that.
A person that you don't know put their mouth on your mouth without your permission, right?
Yes.
Put his hands up your dress and touched you all over your person. It was paralyzing, right?
Yes.
You wake up in a chair. You told the jury that.
I did.
But this message and this one, another same day posting the anniversary of you being actually assaulted by Sean Combs according to your testimony.
I don't celebrate it as the anniversary of that, but his birthday.
What did you write?
"Thank you for giving me an extended family for life. You're funny. I love you."
What about this one? You're in a tutu next to Mr. Combs, right?
Yes.
He's holding his private part in his hand?
I guess so.
You were proud of Mr. Combs.
Of course you'd post the great times.
You wrote, "Extended family for life. You're forever one of my great fans. This is about the man who traumatized you?"
I wrote that.
Who is your mentor and brother that you're writing about?
Puff.
You did a collage. A lot of them are you and Mr. Combs. You picked out the thumbnails, right?
Right.
What did you write?
Who let me have my hair like that?
You're with Mr. Combs, right?
Yes.
Here you say, "Look, Ma, I'm in a billboard in Times Square," right?
It's a play on "My Name is in Lights."
In this photo?
Me and Cass going to Istanbul.
Did Mr. Combs have to approve both you and Cassie going on that trip?
Absolutely.
In this photo?
We are in the Sprinter van on the way to Cass's club appearance.
Where are you in this one?
The W Hotel in Istanbul.
And what'd you write here?
About Muhammad Ali's birthday. With Puff, I took the photo.
You took one photo?
I'm sure I took multiple, but this was the best one.
This was November 4th, 5 years after you were allegedly actually assaulted by Mr. Combs?
Yes.
What did you write?
"Thank you for being my friend. Hashtag happy birthday, Diddy. Hashtag I'm so hot I'm throwing at myself."
And you have Mr. Combs shirtless in 2 of the pictures?
He's always shirtless.
Now, after Brian Steele hit her with the Uno reverse and asked her why she was giving so much love to a man who allegedly ruined, manipulated, assaulted, abused her, and used her to the point where she allegedly had PTSD, she looked at him and she said, "I don't know. You're gonna have to ask my therapist." Anyhow, that's where court left off yesterday. Okay, so remember, the prosecution needs to convince 12 jurors that Diddy's guilty, while Diddy only needs to convince 1 juror that he's innocent. So right off the bat, the odds are in Diddy's favor. With that being said, many people are arguing that since Mia was still employed by Diddy at the time when she made those posts on her personal Instagram bigging him up, her Instagram was an extension of her job, and she was obligated to make him shine. Therefore, it's reasonable to believe that despite the fact that she's giving him mad love, Mia's telling the truth, because all that glitters is not gold on the internet. However, other people are like, "Nah, I ain't buying it. Something in the water just ain't right." Because if someone abused you to the point where you were ready to murk yourself, you wouldn't be on the internet love bombing them on Instagram under any circumstances. I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't, but I'm not everybody. I'm the type of person that if you disrespect me in any way, shape, or form, me and you become mortal enemies for life. So no, I wouldn't be giving you no love on the internet or anywhere else. But I'm also the type of person who wouldn't be working for Diddy in the first place. I mean, after he hired me and he told me that I couldn't sleep for like 5 days, I would have quit. I would have been like, "Good luck, find yourself another assistant." And I could care less whether or not Diddy was over there like, "I'm gonna blackball you." I'd be like, okay, you loser. So no, I wouldn't be in St. Bart's running away from Diddy on a beach, and I also wouldn't be on a little kayak rowing away from Diddy in the middle of the ocean in fear of my life. I'm just not built like that. But once again, everybody's not me. So I have to take into consideration that people respond differently to certain situations. Now, when I don't understand something personally, you know what I do? I research it. So I looked it up and I set out to find out, why might a woman continue to be friendly or publicly affectionate towards a powerful man who has violated her? And guess what I found out? There are several overlapping factors. 1. Power imbalance and fear. The woman might fear retaliation because the billionaire may have significant influence over her career, her finances, or personal safety. She might fear consequences, being fired, blacklisted, or harassed even further. She might also be economically dependent on a person, meaning if she depends on her job for her financial security, she might feel that she has no choice but to stay on good terms. 2. Fawning, which is a desperate attempt to appease and placate others to avoid conflict, rejection, or further trauma, is a trauma response. Some SA survivors respond to abuse by trying to appease or please their abuser. It's an instinctive survival mechanism. Additionally, she may have been experiencing denial or disassociation, which means that she may not have fully processed or accepted what happened to her, and staying friendly could have been a way of protecting herself from the emotional weight of acknowledging the situation. 3. She may have been trying to control a narrative, and consciously or subconsciously, publicly showing love and respect to Diddy could have been an effort to prevent gossip, scrutiny, or victim blaming. She may have wanted to avoid the shame or the stigma associated with what happened to her, because society often judges or disbelieves victims, especially when powerful men like Diddy are involved. She may have wanted to act quote-unquote normally to avoid being questioned or discredited like many people are trying to do right now. 4. She may have been experiencing cognitive dissonance, which means holding two very conflicting beliefs. On one hand, he hurt me, but then on the other hand, he's kinda good to me sometimes. According to psychologists, this is a very real thing that can create internal stress, and expressing affection might be a way to resolve some of that tension. Additionally, many times misplaced loyalty or emotional attachment often occurs in relationships like Diddy's and Mia's. For example, in some abusive dynamics, victims feel loyalty or affection to their abusers, especially if there was a previous bond or mentorship. And I know, all of the armchair psychologists out there who are watching this trial are like, yo, Mia and Cassie suffer from Stockholm Syndrome. Maybe, maybe not. Because Stockholm Syndrome is a very specific psychological response where a victim forms emotional bonds with their abuser or captor, especially in situations involving extreme power imbalance, fear, and dependence, like kidnapping or hostage situations. But not all misplaced loyalty is caused by Stockholm Syndrome. For example, some other reasons why somebody might stay is long-term emotional manipulation, fear of abandonment or retaliation, cultural or familial conditioning, where they're raised in a situation where they're taught that you stay loyal no matter what, hope that the abuser's gonna change, or a lack of awareness that the relationship is even abusive. So while Stockholm Syndrome is one extreme form of misplaced loyalty, not all misplaced loyalty is Stockholm Syndrome. 5. Non-disclosure agreements and NDAs. Mia testified that when she started working for Diddy, she signed an NDA and thought that she was legally barred from speaking out. So, she may have been relying on performative friendliness to maintain appearances, believing that she didn't have any other options because she didn't understand, like a lot of people don't, that NDAs are null and void when crimes take place. And last but not least, her posting positive, loving messages about Puff on Instagram may have been tactical and strategic, meaning she may have been trying to play the long game, and she may have been trying to stay close to Puff as long as she could to eventually gain leverage, avoid conflict, and protect herself. In other words, at the time, she may have felt that staying on good terms with Diddy helped her to protect her friends and colleagues like Cassie, while at the same time helping her to protect herself from further hurt, harm, or danger. So as you can see, psychology isn't trigonometry, and A squared plus B squared doesn't necessarily equal C squared, meaning Mia posting positive messages about Puff on her Instagram after the alleged incident or incidents does not necessarily equal that she's lying and Diddy's innocent, like Brian Steele was over there trying to imply to the jury. Listen, let me know what you think about Mia's second day of testimony. Also, let me know what you think about Snoop Dogg saying that he's totally surprised about what's going on with Diddy. Let me know what you think about all of that in the comments, and while you're down there leaving a comment, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel and share this video with your friends. Hey yo, thanks for tuning in to The Source, your source for celebrity news. Peace.